Politics, a lot of things will change.
Yesterday, 9th,
into today.
And into today. And so, or probably the day before yesterday, because we are in a new day. Okay, into today. Because the information that is filtering through is saying clearly, they realized yesterday, or the day before yesterday, that you needed somebody to represent the Volta region. And that person ought to have been Fifi, because he clearly was the distant. And so, for me, I'm seeing that this group will be very professional and business-like in their approach
to doing the job.
And two, just like General Secretary complained, or now Chairman, you will see a lot of systems being put in place. And the fact that they will want those systems to work, because they cannot come back and give us excuses of who didn't work and who worked. I'm sure they're going to hold each other's legs to the fire. Now, and that is what we are looking forward to. I mean, whether you are neutral or you are an NDC member, you want to see a party being run professionally in a business-like manner. You want to see a party that knows the work that is clearly cut out for it in Ghana, and how it's going to prosecute its campaign to win elections. And that is why I have tremendous confidence in this group.
So JM has his team now, and that's an advantage over the MPP again, because MPP now going to elect a new presidential candidate, and that new presidential candidate didn't have any role, in the outcome of their national election. So obviously, but remember when we were doing the MPP, there were rumors about,
who's supporting who.
Who's supporting who.
I'm not going to say that, well, whoever wins between Alan Chamanti and Dr. Bamia would have his, would have some of their followers or supporters in the executive to work with. I'm not
but
sure.
not all. I mean, I'm just looking at the NDC's Jomame's advantage.
Yeah.
He appears to have everybody else in this, except the youth organizer, by the way.
George Akufo-Addo.
Which
even the women's organizer.
Yes.
Women organizer. The John Mahama team, all his,
we nearly forgot
his
that.
cabinet were supporting Magu.
Yeah. I mean, and those in Jomama's camp, I doubt if they are so settled. And I know the issue about the court had been settled. But Raymond, if you notice the group that was circulating the court injunction, right? Circulating the court injunction, it tells you that the JM side, at least those who are around JM, they were aggressively pushing that agenda. Yeah. They still thought, Opare, it's not too late to get Pablo out and bring in, what's the name of the guy? Broja Jemfi, right?
In all fairness, if you have heard, one of the key people, or key things you would hear from a die-hard John Mahama supporter who supported Broja Jemfi, and it's more likely to have supported any of the pro-John Mahama candidates in this election, is last week Saturday taught the party a lot of lessons. We have learned a lot of lessons. So going into this election, we are acting differently. You don't need the person to straight out come and tell you that I support this or that candidate, but I can see that language runs through virtually all of them. They basically send a signal that no, what happened in the youth election was not what was desired, and that we want something else to happen to change that. I am convinced now that appears to be some generality on the slate, they will come to the conclusion that, well, we can let some of these things go and try to work with the person, but see how parties operate. You can be in a party, be a youth organizer, and not have much to do. If you are not seen to be a team player or working with the larger interest at heart, they have done it on so many occasions. It's not, in fact, they can sideline you even if you're a national executive. They can sideline you to the point that you think you're on board, but you're not really on board. Because they can run the party and they think that the ultimate aim ought to be achieved with or without your support. And for somebody like, so for example, the issue they are raising, of course, it's before court. They have an ex parte injunction that's already been granted in this particular case. Assuming they go back to court, the very issues they have identified in there, it's not alien to politics to have some of these issues. But they still think there's an opportunity to increase the entirety, the potential for the entirety of the team to be on one side. And that is to them a very important thing. If they get Akufo-Addo removed and replaced or fresh elections, I'm convinced Bojaji may likely win the next election if there's a new election. Because the things they thought they are taking for granted in the previous election, they are not likely to repeat it. Like many have said before, that it was not going to be repeated on the grounds today. And that a lot more vigilance and things will be required here. So you can see that if it doesn't even work, they will try to work with the likes of Akufo-Addo. If it doesn't work out, they will sideline him. Sideline will be just boardroom sideline. You are in the party. You are in official position, but you're not part of the people who are running affairs.
It's a funny thing where Jomama met Pablo and then he
Yeah.
met Sammy Jemfi. People were analyzing his body language.
Oh yes, the kind of pictures that came out. That's how.
Pictures.
I mean, see, it might be very little, but you can see some slight difference. You know, the camaraderie.
There was a certain discomfort with that picture he took with Pablo.
Brilliant
on his face. But when you see the picture with,
a lot more camaraderie. This is closer comrade than the other comrade.
To be fair,
yes,
you know, Sammy Jemfi is Mohammed's boy.
of course,
You know it.
so, but why can't we say the same about Pablo?
Oh, you know he's not.
Okay.
You know he's not. I don't know. But if you can't say that, I will say it was obvious. Look, it was obvious. It was obvious during the elections. Look, a lot of the boys who were supporting, Bojaji Jemfi were Mahama boys. It was obvious.
But how much of a problem will this be then? I mean, we're making.
Because for a man who finishes, just this point, for a man who wins an election, and mostly Evans, when you win an election, the things you're more likely to say, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you for all that. His speech was with a lot of pain that senior members of our party should not come to me. Almost like sending a warning to a group of people.
It was that.
And it was that terrible.
Yeah.
And even after all of this, it doesn't appear that the man has moved from thinking that I want this, so nothing else should matter except for reorganization and moving forward with the party. If that continues, he becomes a clear and present danger to the collective interest of a party seeking to win the next election. The question then remains, what will be his objective? Is it his objective that this team, which may be led by John Dramani Mahama, wins the election?
Would he be sidelined?
No, he will not. He will not. He will not. He will be given every opportunity to work as a youth organizer.
Okay.
And I'm sure, I believe that Bojaji Jemfi will be prevailed upon to,
I think they've resolved that thing, yes.
Because clearly, Bojaji Jemfi is on his way to becoming the next youth organizer in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
He's been upping his distance, so he need not do anything that would take away that opportunity from him. Now, Pablo, if he's an astute politician, will know that even if he had any concerns about who to support in the next presidential elections, he's now probably being seen more as an outsider. He will have to work in such a way as to win the confidence of whoever matter in the end.
Yeah.
And so clearly, as a politician, the dynamics have changed. These elections have thrown up new dynamics, and he cannot continue on that trajectory. And you might see a different Akufo-Addo.
I mean, hopefully. So that's the case with Akufo-Addo. So that's the only slight fly in the ointment with Akufo-Addo and the National Women's Organizer, where they may not be, in terms of the John Mahama bandwagon, they may not necessarily be on it. I mean, so we have to find a way of working with them nonetheless. So let's spend a minute then and talk about something we talked about at the beginning. Then we didn't know the outcome. Now we know what the outcome is going to be with the chairmanship slot. What should happen to Fosampa for now? He's driving away. He's left the place. He's gone now. I'm sure he's licking his wounds. It's going to take him some time to heal. What should John Mahama, when it comes down to him, what should he do
Reach out.
with Fosampa for?
Reach out, talk to him, send elders, those who are very close to him, let them go and talk to him. There's still a role for you to play. In fact, they may give him some very prominent role that virtually has no result attached to it, but that's the politics of our day. It's because for one simple reason, you can't throw him out. Imagine if Fosampa becoming a Lotte Jacobs tomorrow, attacking you, your own party. You get the point. You don't want that kind of thing. Because of that, you keep him close, give him something to do. Even if he says he has retired fully, if the man has dedicated 3 decades of his life to a political party, you can't throw him away. and he just was chairman of your party previously. So I get you 100%. A lot more support and backing is required for him to stay on board. But I know he's not going to be made, let's say, campaign chairman. He's not going to be made, let's say, I mean, any of the prominent positions, even if he's given, it will be a name. But a certain level of assurance that you are still relevant to this political party is the best way to deal with the problem. Or else, what would he stand to lose anyway?
So
if he goes all out.
You agree it's John Mahama who must reach out?
That's true. In fact, it's the current leaders. No, I think that NDC has agreed there's only one person who finishes all conversations. That's John Dramani Mahama. The leaders will reach out to him, but he will finally cap it up. I mean, we need a picture like that, like he did with, the Sami Jafi one, not the Pablo one. We need a picture like that to send a signal to the people that, clearly, we are still all together once again.
You know, the reality is that if Asidin Ketia calls Akufo-Addo, what's he going to offer him? What would he offer him?
Well,
he can't offer him anything. What would he offer him?
Just assurance they can work together.
Yeah, but apart from that. But you see, you don't want to see him left alone. What I mean by that is that having contested and lost the chairmanship position, you don't want such a fine brain to leave and not play a role in the NDC. But of course, there's the other problem. There's a problem that based on all the things that have been said about him, would you want to get him close to your campaign? Because you have created the impression this is the man who cannot be trusted. And that's where he would, first of all, be pained. Because he's going to ask himself, is this my reward after 30 years? Mm-hmm. That after 30 years, the very group that I sacrificed for is telling me that I am the mole in the party.
Plus, he's also said that this same group he sacrificed for recorded him secretly and went to give it to the
Exactly. So,
and he's standing trial.
One of the things.
And he's standing trial. He said, my own people did this to me.
Yeah, one of the things John Mahama can do for him, if I were in John Mahama's shoes, one of the things I would do is to make him part of a campaign team. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Yeah. He doesn't have to be your campaign chairman. He doesn't have to be your strategist, but he's part of the campaign team. And you could actually, as part of his campaign responsibilities, hand over the Eastern region to him. Let him go out there and increase the vote of the NDC in the Eastern region. At least, he would have something that he would believe if he delivers on, he can come back and say, I was not your problem after all. You just don't let him go, because at least, I've been looking at the votes. He had about 2,900 votes to Johnson Asabi Nketiah's 5,500 and something, almost twice the number. He beat him. This is rough. We've been beating rough. So, but at least he has some 33%, 35% of the people supporting him. You don't throw him away. You need to have him on board. Can you say you're going to put him, at this point, you cannot give, for example, any position in the party again.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah, it's above it all.
You cannot. You cannot. So the only thing you can do for example, is to make him part of a campaign team. And so, if the NDC finishes their, Congress to elect a flag bearer, the flag bearer must immediately put in place election committees, which would have, for example, on it. Done.
So I think the first thing the NDC will do is to try to assuage the pain of some people. We will have to reach out to offer him some kind of condolences, comfort, appreciate the contribution he's made to the party, and assure him of a place within the party. He definitely has a role to play in the party. Mm. Now, when that is done, when we win his confidence, when the flag bearer wins his confidence, and then the general secretary, now chairman, is willing to work with him, and all the party members accept that he cannot be left alone, I'm quite convinced that they will carve out a place for him, which will be effective. But the first most important thing is try to build, try to get the party united. And to get it united, you must douse whatever fire, whatever passions were raised, whatever egos were bruised in these elections. And you must do it sincerely and not jubilate. And that's where I fault Akufo-Addo. Having won the elections, he ought to have been measured in his utterances, because you are the youth organizer.
You know, that was a surprise, actually.
That was a surprise.
You rarely see that,
Yes.
when the victor is the one who is
lamenting. Yes. So I don't think that the party, like he said, the party has learned, and they would definitely. I mean, and Akufo-Addo is not in the character of Akufo-Addo.
He's not.
So he might not speak at all, and we need to let him see that is his party. He worked to nurture the party as an assemblyman, as a DCE, as a deputy minister, as a minister, organizer, chairman. I mean, clearly, he's worked over the years to establish the party as a formidable force in this country.
Who must lead this?
I think that John must lead it. Okay. And not only John, the Council of Elders, and he has tremendous respect for the Council of Elders. And it is not only to him, even to his supporters. People like Senari must be spoken to. Victor Smith and co. must be spoken to. They must all come on board and let him know that he still has their back and carve out a place for him to be effective within the party.
I mean, that is the biggest next step for the NDC when it comes to what do you do and how do you repair the damage. This was a clash of the titans. One person was always going to emerge the winner. I see that possibly we are getting ready for the announcement, hopefully, while papers are still being opened and final T's being crossed and I's being dotted. We'll go there shortly once the EC is ready to announce the official results. But the NDC, after this, beginning tomorrow immediately, would have to start a conversation around how to build the bridges that have constantly been battered and burnt since the campaigns started. John Mahama on your screens is seated. When at the beginning of Congress, Joman was seated where he was seated, but he was flanked by Seydou Nketia and Ofusu-Ampofo. Now he's flanked by newly elected General Secretary in the person of Fifi Kwete, and of course Seydou Nketia, who is the national chairman, and he's in a healthy conversation with John Mahama in this, who will, together with Seydou Nketia, will have to lead the effort to bring Ofusu-Ampofo back into the ranks with everything else that has happened in the lead up to this. But what they've done, Raymond, is that they've left in their wake some strong arsenals for the opposition MPP to use against them going forward. Not least the revelation that they had no case going into the 2020 elections. To date, the NDC still maintains that they had a case, right?
So
no, they didn't say. We didn't say we had no case.
Oh, I'm talking about
Yes, he didn't say we had no case.
You didn't have the evidence.
No. He didn't say the evidence was not properly collated. That when they took the evidence to court, to the lawyers, I listened to the tape.
Yeah.
Lawyers advised that it was better to go on the failures of the electoral commission than the coalition they had done, because the coalition did not clearly establish the case. Because in his view, the coalition was poorly done.
Yeah.
So Seydou Nketia never said anywhere that we didn't have a case. Listen to the tape again.
Yeah, I mean, so that's fair, that's true. His main point was that what needed the results was poorly collated. He didn't have enough, and so of course, and in the court of common jurisdiction, is the evidence is the name of the game. But it comes back to that point.
Yeah, no, but I mean, everybody who heard the tape may not construe it the same way that you have done. It could be the appropriate interpretation you're supposed to put on it, but it's politics we are talking about. The message that went out there is just what Evans Spencer was referencing.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
And yes, and consistent. And see, and it's not going to change anytime soon. Is the reason why you do not arm people with what could be even misconstrued. I think it was a gamble. It was a last-minute gamble. The final point was when they threw in another parliamentary officer to come and level very serious allegations against Ofosu Ampofo. The NDC in this election went all out, and that's really when big people fight. What happens? There's a lot of damage that's caused in their wake, and the danger is that your opponents are listening and they may use it against you, and they are going to use some of these things against not only the candidates in the election, but also the party in the office of entirely. As to whether that will be more important as compared to the other issues in the country, well, we are yet to see that. But, for example, they'll be having a conversation about a party that's incompetent in collating its own results.
Yeah, and Raymond,
that's 100%. Because, and I've been saying it doesn't make sense for a political party to go into 2 elections and still complain about not being able to.
Well, it doesn't even make sense to the NDC.
No, you know the bigger problem with this ammunition they've left in the lap of the MPP. To galvanize the party's base, particularly polling agents, etc., for elections, you have to get them to be angry about you being cheated. We're cheated. And by the way, until this tape, right, the NDC had maintained that stance that we were cheated.
Yes. And a certain unanimous FC actually also described the further justice in the area.
And we had the evidence.
Yeah.
We went there, we tried our best, and the court just didn't, side with us.
Close your eyes to ignore the evidence.
And you remember
the preponderance of it.
I remember the grassroots responded to that message. When you create the us against them, it can be a good galvanizing factor.
That's true.
Right? Everybody else is against us. So there is a Supreme Court that you've pitched them against, the courts are against you. The MPP is against you. The police is against you. They kill people and not. You create all these blocks of state power, and you create the impression that they've all been used against you. So the NDC and the foot soldiers, look, you are the underdogs. You are under siege from the coercive forces of the state. That is a very powerful siege mentality. And when you create that siege mentality, it galvanizes. Because you are then saying the dogs are about to, if you stand still, you'll be eaten alive.
Yeah.
So you have to fight for your life. Now, this tape is the biggest douser of the strength of that argument.
Even if you reduce the competence of that, it actually pokes or actually creates some holes in the arguments that has been made over the period. If it doesn't dispute entirely the sufficiency of the arguments that have been made about we not doing enough or we being, it actually doubts it. It actually points to the contribution of people within the NDC
to
its own defeat or its own outcome.
And remember that some of the foot soldiers, after the immediate a year or so, within that year, held the press conference demanding, give us the
election results.
The results. Remember, it was a big deal. The grassroots were agitating for it. Give us the results you promised. I don't take us for fools, right? And the party still maintain, spokesperson, maintain. Now you have a general secretary who's now won as a chairman, who is head on tape, who now he owned it and said, I said it. You didn't have it. We had to change it.
In fact, till today, nobody has convinced you and I that the NDC had any credible results of the 275 constituencies and basically a presidential election that happened.
So now you go 2020, you're going to, that galvanizing language is lost, right? That galvanizing language that you need to get your, look, now when you go, be vigilant.
Yeah.
Because they cheated us in the last elections. We won the election, but they cheated us. When you tell people they are being cheated, right? They get a certain reaction. The thing that I hate the most is when I feel that you are taking advantage of me. Immediately, it gives me a certain different posture.
Yeah.
That is fight for the right. That is one of the disadvantages of this.
The actually,
there are people who use it against you.
As a lawyer, probably the strategy. But I shared completely in the strategy of the NDC when they decided that the public institution established for the purposes of managing election ought to come to the table and tell us how they manage the elections. Because the Electoral Commission themselves has set the stage for the NDC to demand that when they announce results and change those results. That was a constitutional breach. Nowhere in our laws will you find a provision that allows an Electoral Commission to declare results and change the results. Nowhere. So it was, in my view then, and still, it was a better strategy. Because how did they compile the results such that they came to a figure and changed the figure later on? What gave them the authority so to do? And the danger actually is that we have set a precedent where future elections can be changed. The election results can be changed by the Electoral Commission. So from a purely governance level, governance within the Electoral Commission itself, there were fundamental issues that they had to answer. Okay? So go to court, challenge the results, challenge even their power to change results, and get the Electoral Commission to come and demonstrate why they changed the results and which power they had.
But Alhaji, if you look at your own results, and the point is, if you had collated results too, and you look at your own results, you'd ask the question, do my results tally with that of the Electoral Commission? If they do not, you actually would have a case to say.
But how can your results tally? Which results of the Electoral Commission will your results tally?
So the Electoral Commission declares results. They come back to change it. You say that is wrong. And I'm asking the question, so you took that to court. But even before you went to court, did your results confirm or deny?
So, Winston, which results will they mean?
The one that you collated independently?
No, because the Electoral Commission itself changed the results.
No, but
the changes
the one
the changes
independently.
They changed it about 3 or 4 times.
The results you collated independently.
So, which results will ours tally with?
Yes.
The change one.
Which one did it tally with?
So we were challenging the authority of the Electoral Commission so to do.
But I'm inviting.
And it is in the petition. It's in the petition.
I get your point. I mean, ideally, if an election management body, mindful of its role, decides to put out results and within a matter of hours comes to put out different results, and even how it did it was problematic. Because of the role it plays, you can challenge that. But I'm just wondering whether to a political party, that was the same message you were sending to your people out there. We know that wasn't, right? The message you were sending out there was quite clear that we won the election and there's something that gone fundamentally
It is precisely
wrong.
because they were changing the results that confirmed our suspicion that we had won the result.
But to be able to say you won the election, it should be premised on something, not change results. It should be premised on a possibility that you have independently collated and found that on your own data sheet, you had those
Other
results.
than that, you're purely speculating.
Yes,
Exactly.
but as the evidence later being spilled on this tape, even as of the time we were making the claim that you had won the election, there was no results on your
simply
side.
that the collation by our party was done in such a way that we couldn't support a claim. We couldn't present the evidence.
Yeah. So
Okay, but we
what it
knew.
comes down to.
But we knew.
that you believed, not knew. You
we knew
believed.
that we had won.
You believe.
Because
what's
Yes, because there wasn't any reason of the time that you were
What's the
making the
evidence to
claim
support that you
to
won?
back it.
When you didn't have the results.
How do we believe that we won? We believe that we won because the figures that we had from the if you want provisional results that we got, we were going to go into a second round. Okay.
Okay.
And that there was no clear winner in the first round.
Well, but
Now, we believe that the Electoral Commission also knew that the provisional results did not establish a clear winner.
But you couldn't produce that.
couldn't produce that
Couldn't
evidence.
produce that evidence.
I mean, I think that's not in dispute. I am saying that is why they changed
That is what the General Secretary was alluding to.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a confirmation.
And that is what
That it was-
motivated the Electoral
Evans.
Commission to change the result.
no, what the Electoral Commission did actually was to use. So they actually use. Ordinarily you use the total valid votes.
Yeah.
It's what you use. You calculate the percentage of. they calculated a percentage based on the total votes cast.
You say,
And
so Winston, you have an electoral management.
Yes, let me make my point. When I make
You
my point,
mean
you
you are
understand.
suggesting to me
You understand?
that they didn't know how to calculate?
Oh, you will understand when I make my point. so they did this, and the chairperson announces it, and goes ahead to ascribe percentages. Then the Electoral Commission realized they made a mistake. So they issue a statement to correct that mistake. Now you said based on the announcement by the chairperson, the election should have gone into a second round. When you clearly know, haven't run elections, that percentages are calculated based on total valid votes. So the question asked by Justice Apau to General Mosquito, and he asked him, based on your own calculation, when you do your own calculation, did the current president get more than 50%? He said yes. So why? So, but based on the Electoral Commission chairperson's announced results, he did not get it. So that's why we are in court.
The thinking.
When on the face of it, it was obvious the
But
EC made
clearly,
it.
No,
how can you say on the face of it?
Yes.
How can you say
No, I agree with you perfectly. It was not. It's unpardonable. It's not possible.
It's not possible.
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
That your declaration will have such a fundamental
But that error.
Really?
Possible.
But that error,
But they made that error.
No, it's not possible.
The human issue.
That error, that's a commission.
No, but
That's
it
a commission.
can't- it can't have
How
valid
did it
No,
go?
it calls into question the entirety of what
the
you call
integrity of the
results.
election.
Bring evidence.
No. It can't call into question
that-
the elections. People have queued and voted. They know our courts have been very,
No, but we're not talking about the
in 2000.
Yeah, they're very clear.
See,
They are not
they are
going
not
to
saying that-
invalidate my queuing.
No, Evans,
they won't
nobody
do
is
that.
saying that your vote is invalid. We are talking
Yeah.
about the results.
No, they say they should go for
So
second round based on the
then,
Can you correct the
I don't
error?
know, Evans.
yes.
Can you correct the errare?
Correct what error?
But how do you know
Two
that
administrative
that's
two
not
administrative means.
So
Yes.
the question is, how does an electoral commission established to manage an election and declare results correct an error when an error is made?
We didn't have any
So
problem.
that's why we ought to have been in court so that they could be elected. The court will make a pronouncement, and that pronouncement will be part of the electoral reforms of this country.
You're right. You're
So,
right.
Evan,
As for that, you're
today,
spot on.
if today because we knew the Isaac Amoki.
Sorry, can we take this? I mean, there's I'm seeing on the television, John Sasir Nketia being awarded something. He's shaking hands and hugging all around. I don't know what that is. We'll get our guys on the ground to fill us in on what that is. But the man obviously is the man of the moment. He's just been awarded something. Very happy. It looks like the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, a
mini World Cup. It's a copy of the World Cup.
Yes.
Sort. A miniature or World Cup trophy, right? Is that what it is?
Rasbubag behind me. It looks like that. I mean, we didn't get a very close up.
Yeah.
You see all the colors on the World Cup, the green part, the human beings who are holding up a certain world or probably a football or something that looks like that was also in what was given to him. Perhaps we should get clarity on it if we get to know
Maybe a
what
well-meaning person in the party just wanted to congratulate him for it.
I actually thought it was Ofusampo who was handing it to him.
Exactly, I thought so.
Yeah, when I saw the figure of the person doing so, I thought it was that. It would have been a great gesture. I mean, he living at the time he left sends a very strong signal of some problems. Yeah. But if he had come back to only come and present this, it would have been a very, very great gesture. Getting people to understand and appreciate that, well, he's not as embittered or worried about what is happening on the ground, but he's actually moved beyond that and come back to say, we are in it together. I'm handing over the baton to you. Continue from where I actually started and couldn't complete it. That would have been a very nice, but of course, we didn't see the face of the person. I was struggling. I thought it was me. Yes, I was talking about this point because, you see, the understanding we all have of elections, nobody was saying that your vote was invalid. It is whether or not your vote was properly accounted for. And every single polling station had the declaration form where you account for the ballot of the day. It is so important and so germane to the election that you remember the MPP's petition. They took some of those forms and challenged it. Some of them were perceived to be, in fact, what was the argument? Clerical or they had the term for it, clerical errors. But still, they were still fundamental to the determination of an election. An election is not only the vote, it is counting the vote in a way that you represent it properly. So could it have been possible that today you woke up one day and you realize that, no, the EC said we made a mistake. It was not really President Akufo-Addo that won the election. We actually made a slight error.
So when's,
how was that supposed to be accounted for today?
Raymond, the LI under which they were operating required that regional collation centers collect the results in public and make declarations of the regional elections before transmitting them to the national headquarters.
Yeah.
We didn't see that.
In fact, we were here when Eastern Region, remember what happened in the Eastern Region? Where one constituency was missing on the law. They took it to Accra. They imputed until they realized finally that there was a problem with that. So there were some challenges. I just did not think that was an excuse enough for the NDC. You go into an election, you prepare fully with your team.
So the challenges that we encountered in the elections and the petition of the NDC was not only to look at the results of the elections, but to engender electoral reforms. Because you see, we are tinkering on the brink of disaster if we allow an electoral commission to always be able to change results by themselves without any regulation of law. Because
so the CI they brought didn't have this regulation, or this is not the.
The CI they didn't follow those regulations. They brought the CI. The CI required that they did certain things. They didn't do those things, and still declared results.
But
they didn't follow the CI.
You said the CI said that the results are declared at the Regional Coalition Center.
They are collated publicly and declarations made public.
Yes.
Before the transmission.
Before the transmission.
So the national headquarters becomes only the coalition center.
You expected that they would announce it, for instance.
For Ashanti region, this is what they got. In Ashanti region.
In Ashanti region.
In Ashanti region.
So when they finish all the coalition, they didn't do that and your agent signed.
The agents would have signed before.
Yes, so so after your agent signed, then they would declare it.
Well, so they didn't collect regional elections.
They did.
Where? Why is the region when one constituency?
One constituency.
So how did they come by the
But they collated the regional results. In fact, I saw the Ashanti regional sheet signed by the agents. I saw the...
well, Ashanti region use it's not a good example.
No, but it's one of the regions.
It's not a good example.
The Eastern regional one actually originally came in, and what was when they realized that they actually didn't add one of the constituencies.
And they got results.
And they got they got a sheet that had been signed by the
cast doubt on even the elections.
Party agents. Again, the party agents are signed. I saw the Upper East region. I saw the coalition sheet signed by all the agents. So, see, you may have had a case, but when you say the election should go into a second, it should be backed by your figures, not based on the EC's error. Not based on the EC's error that, the EC says the chairperson makes and says, oh, we had this number of votes cast, and so because of that, nobody had 50%, and so let's go to a second round.
The EC was in an indecent hurry to declare Nana Akufo-Addo the winner, so they made that mistake. And so
you agree?
We're holding.
You're holding that. I was like
holding them to the.
I was like going to court with. Technically, based on this technicality. I said that in 20.
But if you go to court with technicalities, you are.
Yeah, it's like a keeper. on procedural law is as important.
Hold on. On elections, the 2013 petition taught us that your case must be backed by hardcore facts. You don't come and say because they didn't sign. President said they don't sign pink sheets.
Yeah.
The results should be cancelled.
So on the elections, the 2012 or 13 petition shows us that the Electoral Commission should be the person who manages elections.
Yeah.
True.
And so if the Electoral Commission declares results and those results are going to be challenged, the Electoral Commission must demonstrate to us how they came by their results. And they did in 2013. And how come that in 2017 or no 2020 they didn't do that?
Well, let's get back to the Congress. Otherwise, we continue.
The point we're making with this, whatever it is, this argument But we're talking about the ammunitions that the NDC themselves have
It's not an ammunition at all.
have supplied in abundance to the MPP.
Yeah, they will run
with this leak tape.
They will run away with it, but
This argument will weaken that we were cheated. That argument will weaken going into...
That's true. That's the point we're making.
That's the point I'm making. It will weaken going into 2020.
Which is very fundamental.
It does.
Which is why the party says we'll be vigilant, which is why they're saying that we need boisterous leaders who will not allow anybody to cheat them. All of the foundation for cheating appears shaky with some of the recent happenings in the party prior to this
In fact, to the point, if you listen to that tape, Asiedu Keita was actually implying that the NDC employed MPP moles
to do coalition.
And the implication of that, it all implied that this was an internal sabotage.
Yeah.
It's implied.
Yeah.
It actually implies that their defeat and inability to account and to win the case in court was an internal sabotage. That, in fact, their defeat, because we were blind, they were flying blind, that their coalition collapsed, was internal sabotage.
And they appointed that blame to some people.
To some people who had links with governing party, operatives.
And brought in
I don't think that he meant internal sabotage.
No, of course.
What he said, Evans, but if
it's implied. It's implied.
What he was basically saying is that we need to be more diligent.
Yeah, basically saying the same
thing. But if he says you hire
recruiting people,
you hire somebody,
not a sabotage,
and you were warned that person is your opponent's main man,
and proceeded to keep the person,
and then he did it.
That
and then crashed.
What he was saying
after 5 regions.
What he was saying is simply that if we had been more diligent, probably would have discovered this and appointed a different person.
Yeah, but he didn't. And that person supervised.
That was not,
and that led to a crash.
He didn't say that was an intentional act to employ a person to compromise the elections. That would be sabotage.
No, but the suggestion is that but wait. Which one is that? So, but the thing.
Yes.
Yes, Evans.
On this.
That one we got.
This is a coalition.
This is our
coalition. On this point,
we got 53%.
If you look at the way Asiedu Keita builds the argument, right? It builds the argument around how the national chairman was warned to wait for the flag bearer. Well,
so we are coming back to the same if he had waited,
yes,
the party would have been more diligent.
No. But
probably appointed people.
You follow.
If you add to that argument,
it strengthens the point that there was a conspiracy.
They're thinking of a member of parliament that there was something truly wrong with the national chairman because he's apparently being controlled.
The whole point that Asiedu Keita was making there is that the chairman who's now gone had some other. They couldn't quite fathom why he was so insistent when he could have waited. Yeah. Right.
So again,
and 2 days before the election,
yes, and that
a member of parliament comes and say that
again, that is not sabotage. That's an error of judgment. What he's saying is that look, if the chairman then had waited until all the stakeholders were present for the appointments to be done, probably would have appointed people who would have championed the cause.
But, Honorable, this was against the background that the very gentleman we are talking about here is being accused by a senior member of your party in parliament of being being controlled.
You have to look at that whole thing. It's a conundrum. Context.
So what is in the recording? No, but they are not isolating only the recording for conversation.
It feeds into a whole.
You need the mind of journalists like Evans, and Winston to come to that conclusion.
Oh, really?
It feeds into a whole conspiracy.
These are different events. What Asiedu Keita was saying was in connection with the elections. The member of parliament who said that the chairman then had been compromised, did not tie it to the election.
No, but what's the point of telling us that your ICT lead, right, he was warned that he has a link with?
Yes.
What was the point of that? Sabotage.
No, the point.
You're telling us it was sabotage.
That is a defining point. What was the point of isolating that point?
It's simply about due diligence. That point.
So you got a man,
we needed
who's a friend to the other side,
yes,
to come and manage your ICT.
It simply means that we didn't do due diligence.
And so led to a sabotage.
Oh, he didn't use sabotage.
I am saying so it led to a, because if your system crashed,
It led to a
but for your system crashing, you would have had the figures.
We did not get the best out of our efforts to collate the results of 2000.
So why did your system crash? I still don't get this point though. Did it crash because the guy in charge was incompetent, or did it crash because the guy in charge was so exposed to the NPP? If you listen to the tape, he's saying that he was crashed because he was linked.
Now, if you come to the conclusion that it was crashed because of the NPP, then it lends intention to that act.
But that's what he implies.
Honorable,
that would be very.
Okay, so this is the point. We won them. Now they appointed an ICT director.
Yeah.
Who is linked to the other side.
Other side.
And hold on.
Who was alleged?
Hold on.
Alleged.
Who was alleged?
No problem.
Alleged, no problem.
No problem.
To be linked to the other side. Listen, let's look at that variable. Look at this. And then, after 5 regions, our system crashed.
Sabotage.
What are you telling me? You're telling me that.
just told me that.
You're telling me that. But if we had a better person
Yes,
Who is not linked to the other
this would have-
side?
so you are saying that
the system crashed because it was not robust.
the crashing is linked to the
No.
No.
To the other side.
Because
he did a poor job for you. Say he did a poor job.
No,
to the other side.
No, exactly. It is the reason for the poor job.
That he's affiliated to the other side.
That's what we are thinking.
But that's the value.
I've said that. This guy,
That's a dependent by
A system can crash the best of it.
Honorable, would a reasonable person come to such a conclusion? I think so.
Yeah. I have to listen to the thing.
The reasonable person.
Yes, come to the conclusion.
The reasonable person at Joy FM or the one.
I get your point. But I think that some admission ought to be made that there is some ammunition that every election, when there's an internal election, you will learn to your opponents to use against you. This one was a bit more.
It's a bit more.
You see, to be fair, this one was a bit more competitive. So a lot more things were released out there. I am hoping that the NDC's response is a more cogent. We are together.
So the response, our response is simply
Yes.
this. So we got in a team. We are not going to blame the exited chairman for any disaster in 2024.
Very well. Yes, you don't have an option. You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
The second thing is that we are going to learn from the mistakes. So that's why I spoke about systems. So you are going to find this new crop of executives saying that let's try our possible best to do things right and take every allegation seriously. Thirdly, they are going to have to explain away how the crash came about, because I'm aware, apart from the crash, there were other parallel systems established elsewhere. What came of them? What became of them?
Okay.
So,
but how will you deal with the ammunition that you've given to your because the NPP issued a statement on the back of
that they should apologize to the judiciary and Ghanaians for lying to them.
Yeah.
And in fact, I heard somebody, I don't know, that was also to me out of the window, saying that no, it was perjury.
On Newsfile today.
I'm not sure it had the same background.
neutrals on Newsfile. We're making the same point.
No, but I mean, saying that it constituted perjury because you said in the Supreme Court.
Making.
No, apparently they should apologize to the judiciary.
Yeah, neutrals are making the same point.
for what?
Leading all of us.
I mean, I don't think that's the main issue. You see, I think that the main issue was that the party did not only do that, it reached the point there was this position within the NDC that a certain unanimous FC is happening.
Unanimous FC.
Yeah.
Unanimous FC.
And when you come to the unanimous FC conclusion, based on such a faulty base,
Unanimous
in all
FC
fairness,
came out from the fact that They were giving almost unanimous decisions.
Yeah, but I mean, it was derogatory. We all know that it was derogatory.
When it started, nobody called them a unanimous.
No, but you know that it was derogatory.
So what I'm saying,
we're not doing it because you thought that was
judiciary.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's the highest court of the land.
Yeah.
I will not deny.
Yeah.
How come that when we raise serious constitutional issues, their attention was on figures from the elections? Why didn't they avert their mind to those serious constitutional issues and breaches that occurred during the conduct of the election?
But the precedent was
Is
set
it
in
that
2013.
is it that the procedural breaches that occurred were not enough? Because I know in election matters, the minimis is very important.
The
Is
limit.
it that?
Exactly.
But they didn't make that pronouncement. They didn't even inquire into the alleged breaches and whether it was de minimis. They didn't. So why do you think that we must apologize to them?
No, I mean, no, the apology
No,
is
it's come
because
from
of
the
the
MPP,
revelation. No,
What revelation?
but that
We didn't go to
that
court
you didn't
on only
have
figures.
the evidence.
If you go and look at the
Here
election
you were.
petition, we didn't go to court on. I wasn't part of the team, but I was privileged to see and listen to the reasons why we're going to court.
No, but
One important reason why NDC went to court in 2021 was to engender electoral reforms. Because we knew, and in the last elections, the court made pronouncements.
So you knew you had lost?
No,
You knew you lost the 2020
we knew
election.
that if we went to court, it was a 50% chance that the court would say, well, this clearly
So you should go for second round.
But we also knew that if we were able to prosecute the case the way we thought we should prosecute it,
based on the breaches, the
breaches,
constitutional breaches.
the court would have made pronouncements that would lead to
but Mr.
electoral
Fuseni, you should have known in our jurisprudence when it comes to election adjudication. Our Supreme Court takes a different view on the matter. They don't rely on breaches of the law. They rely on the numbers enough to
So are
change
you
an
then
outcome.
suggesting to me here on this platform that when there are egregious breaches of the law in the conduct of the elections,
the Supreme Court will consider that, but
the court will say that
but ask the ultimate question.
The court will
Yeah.
say that the end
was it
justifies
enough?
the
Was
means.
it enough to change?
But they
the outcome?
didn't even embark on that inquiry.
But
That's what I'm saying.
they allowed you to
They
come
didn't.
But no, but just that Tuguba, when he actually was given,
They didn't.
he said the court
Because
must
he didn't
seek to
bring-
protect the votes.
Yeah.
Yes,
fundamentally.
yes. That's the first thing.
Yes,
And how do you
first thing.
protect the votes?
So you protect the votes.
You
by
protect the
annulling
votes.
anybody's vote.
No, not by not annulling, by inquiry into how the votes were obtained in the first place. But nobody did.
Yes,
that.
how the votes were obtained.
Yes.
But did you have a problem with that?
We had a problem.
How?
When Eastern Region presented votes, which clearly was, had one constituency missing.
But did your agents?
How did they come by that? It's not about agents. How did they come by that?
No, but that's,
we had problems.
But no, but they say
we really
elections-
had. There were constituencies.
Elections are won at the
there
polling
were,
station.
There were about 20 constituencies which had over bloated election results.
What are those constituencies?
Oh, I still don't get to mention them in court.
And when he
And
added
the court,
Did they add
the
up to-
court agreed that yes, there could be breaches. Even the
But
electoral
it's not
commission.
substantial. It's not
It's
substantial.
substantial.
Yeah, but that is our jurisprudence on this matter of the
Okay,
election result.
okay.
But actually,
But it's settled. It's settled.
it
in
makes
our
sense. It
jurisprudence.
makes sense to actually query the numbers and see how it was impacted.
Yeah.
But the point you are making, which I also understand, is that nobody can throw away, especially if these are laws governing a certain practice, that if the laws are breached, it does not matter. I mean, it's almost like that. If there are no rules
I
for the
get what
engagement.
you're saying. Remo.
Yes,
I get
it
what you're
cannot
saying,
be the
Remo,
case.
But you should know. But
Yeah,
you should know.
I-
Our approach in terms of electoral adjudication, it's what it is.
but that's the same argument.
that's the problem.
But unless the
When you reduce the argument, when you reduce-
hasn't departed from that principle.
in Kenya,
in Kenya, I was coming to Kenya. Kenya is a reverse. They place emphasis on the procedure. If you breach the law in Kenya, it's gone. Your election will be rerun.
But honorable, the
it's
diminished
not a
value you
Commonwealth
talked
village.
about,
But no,
the
but
same
so
argument that's been made here, that if it doesn't cross a certain threshold,
Yes, the
it's not-
minimis.
yeah, that's the
I'm saying that, but you
yes.
must first of all embark on an inquiry before you come to that conclusion.
Yeah, but
because
but increment is based on
court jurisprudence and electoral jurisprudence have always said
but
that there will be some breaches.
I mean,
and the breaches said that of consequence, said that they can affect the outcome of elections. If there are breaches, and those breaches cannot affect the outcome of the elections, the court will say no.
Yes.
But you must first embark on that.
But Mr. Fuseni, that inquiry must be based on the petitioner's ability to produce the numbers that can be interrogated.
What I don't agree with you is that
2013.
when you reduce that to numbers, you are basically arguing that, well, in an election, probably the end justifies the means.
Which is what our Supreme Court's position is on this.
No. Our Supreme Court cannot come to that.
But that's not shown.
And that's
in
why,
2013 and 2020.
That's why we have always said that the jurisprudence in the electoral matters ought to be looked at carefully.
That I agree.
Because
I think that
when you come to that conclusion, it means that if you have an electoral commissioner who has an interest in the case, he can flout the electoral laws
and then say, oh, the outcome, they didn't,
But Evans, to the extent that we are arguing and debating this, it tells you how this may equally be an issue that will be on the minds of many people, and then people can exploit against your party.
Yes.
When it comes to the value of what was on the tape and the conversations around this election campaign.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not in one way or at all dismissing that there can be an abuse or an exploitation of what has come out from this particular conversation.
So remember what we are saying is that
yes.
So we don't put ourselves in a situation where we'll be arguing this much.
I get your point.
And that's why we elected these executives.
Oh, I see. Okay, I get you. Yeah. So you felt that going with for some people would have actually continued the conversation. Yes.
So now you support General.
But he's always supported General. He's always supported General.
But no, you see, in the past he was.
No. I even declared because the results were not out. I even declared that I had voted General. Immediately I left and I declared it on a radio station.
Okay.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that you don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
So these people have their work cut out for them. Now look, we are going into election 2024, and we know it's not going to be that easy. And so when you're going to put the MPP down, you must put them down in such a way that there will be no doubt lingering in the mind of anybody. In fact, it will make going to court odious. I mean, not a worthy exercise. Put them down in such a way that everybody, they will concede before even.
But you raised an important point. Well, I mean, the national chairman is there, has experience. But you have the general secretary who's actually going to be in charge of the day-to-day, who hasn't managed an election before.
The national chairman.
Sorry, your general secretary.
No, national chairman, yes.
I mean, national chairman has.
Yes.
But he's not in charge of, day-to-day.
But that is, party executives are administrators. They're not in charge of formulating ideas and strategies on how to fight.
But the chairman...
You will have to set up a think tank. You have to set up committees. They come up with how the elections should be managed, what is needed for the elections. Then the chairman, secretary, organizer will prosecute that.
True.
That's how you run elections.
But that's the question I was asking. So it's going to be, it will fall on Fifi to prosecute.
Yes, so Fifi coordinates all the activities. So have we gotten a coalition center? Check. Have we got all the requisite equipment? Check. So how much do you need for this exercise? Where are we getting the money? Is the money available? Check. So when you have all those things ready and available, the general secretary's work is to ensure that what the think tank, what the committee responsible for formulating our strategy has put in place is followed to the letter. That's all he does.
Okay, I see. But I said the case did far more when he was there. He was actually involved in the actual implementation.
That's the implementation.
So you don't think that at least that lack of experience there could hurt, could be a disadvantage for people?
Look, if you were somebody associated with the NDC and you stood for general secretary and you were determined to implement decisions of a committee on prosecuting elections, you will do it the way Fifi will do it. Clearly, it's just implementation. You are an administrative officer And you have to implement. I don't like the idea where elected executives think that they must come out with the idea. They are administrators. And so the ideas must be panned out. What we need to do in this election are A, B, C, D. And you must have somebody who will have the boldness of heart to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, as for this current crop, they definitely seem to. That is their biggest advantage. We've seen how, if you flip it, it could also prove to be a disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. We want to go back to the ground. All we are waiting for now is the Electoral Commission's announcement, declaration of the final results. The last time I checked, the pink sheets is how it was described, was being finally checked, cross-checked, signed before the announcement is made. As you can see, the EC officials are seated, very relaxed. The counting is done. The outcome is known. It's just now a case of getting everybody to sign off before it is read. And that's why, like an hour ago, John Mahama walked in. John Mahama wouldn't have walked in if, somebody didn't call him to tell him that it's ready.
I don't know why the signings is taking so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
I don't know if there's a dispute. It doesn't look like there's a dispute.
No, there's no dispute.
So it should be, I think the results.
We just want to get everything correct so that we don't say that when the General Secretary won the elections, they had elections with
I think it's obvious that see, there are some defeats that you don't come back. Look, if the margin is, if it's a huge margin,
60 something.
how are you going to explain it that you've been cheated? You cannot explain like that. You get it? So, I mean, it's not something that you can just come back and say, oh, we need to do a recount or recollation or whatever. You can't do that. So, I think they should just declare the election. I mean, a lot of people are across Sports with them very tired and would want to have just the results declared and then they go back home. I mean, all of us have been here, even though we're anticipating that it was going to end at night today. Fortunately for us, the NDC has proven all of us wrong. You've had the elections held, counted, and all things being equal, you get to declare the results.
Yeah, so those are the visuals on your screen. Watching Kofi Totobi-Kwache in a conversation with Kofi Adams on the extreme left, having a conversation that the EC officials themselves, surrounded by the agents of the various candidates, all waiting to sign off before the results are declared. That's what we're waiting for. And the next thing we'll hear will definitely be the announcement of the declaration of the results. And then we can get to hear from the winner. We'll hear from the national chairman-elect, and we believe that to be Johnson Asiru Nketia. Will speak, give an acceptance on behalf of the party. Before that, they will be sworn in at the grounds today in the next few minutes. I'm hoping that will be the case because it's almost like 15 minutes now to 6. We started this off around 8 a.m. yesterday, so we've been going now nearly 24 hours, and we're still waiting for an outcome. We should deliver that for you. You want to stay with us for that. I know many of you have been listening to us on Joy 99.7 FM and also on the JoyNews channel. We would certainly stay with us until we know the actual results as declared by the Electoral Commission. This is your election headquarters. We'll be right back with official declaration.
Without taking copies of the results, which is dangerous. So my advice is that going forward, once you have signed for the candidates, please pick your copy. It is very important. Now, these are the results for the election. Once again, on behalf of the Commission, we thank all of you for your cooperation. Without the cooperation, we would have been where we are. I'll start with the National Executive Membership. 19 people contested, and we were to elect 5 people. Candidate 1, Efremni Tainsaki, had 506 votes. Candidate 2, Perez Fernandez Amalai had 91 votes. Candidate 3, Ishaku Isa Adel, 308 votes. Candidate 4, Reverend Arinsina Agbareke, 306 votes. Candidate 5, Abdullahi Farrakhan Ishaq, 208 votes. Candidate 6, Malik Adama, 411 votes. Candidate 7, Victoria Kumaminta, 710 votes. Candidate 8, Emmanuel Ewonam, 137 votes. Candidate 9, Cecilia Asaga, 845 votes. Candidate 10, Ebenezer Efa Hackman, 331 votes. Candidate 11, Najawa Isa, 353 votes. Candidate 12, Stephen Lajado, 50 votes. Candidate 13, Anita Anine, 282 votes. Candidate 14, Ransford Chatman, 464 votes. Candidate 15, Thomas Aisikuma, 358 votes. Candidate 16, Wanda Victor Kuto, 1,596 votes. Candidate 17, Mohammed Mahmoud, 342 votes. Candidate 18, Arabatego, 1,017 votes. Candidate 19, Famous Kwesi Kwaduga, 179 votes. Total valid vote cast, 8,494. Rejected ballot, 55. Total vote cast, 8,549. I therefore declare, in order of the number of votes, Wanda Victor had the highest, followed by Arabatego, then Cecilia Asaga, followed by Victoria Kumamenta, and the fifth one is Efremni Tansaki. So these 5 people who have been elected. Now to the Zongo caucus. 5 people contested. Candidate 1, Abbas Zulkarnain Kambari, 625 votes. Candidate 2, Alhaji Babalamin Abu Sadat, 1,748 votes. Candidate 3, Mama Mohammed Kor Yonga, 2,786 votes. Candidate 4, Abdulaziz Mohammed, 1,819 votes. Candidate 5, Yakubu Mahmoud Moody, 1,530. Mama Mohammed Kor Yonga, duly elected the National Zongo Caucus. Deputy Communication Officer. 5 people contested. We were to elect 2. Akogan Godwin, 2,630. Jacob Ature Adogo, 614. Malik Basintali, 3,388. Kwaku Buahen, 1,138. Alhaji Muhammad Naziru, 758. Total valid votes, 8,528. Rejected ballot, 21. Total vote cast, 8,549. Malik Basintali had the highest vote, duly elected. And Akogan Godwin, second, also duly elected. Deputy Communication. So Deputy Communication. Deputy National Organizer. 4 people contested and we are to elect 2. Kobe Ballon, 4,700. Habib Mohammed Tahiru, 953. Elikem Kotoko, 1,815. And Alaji Yakundo, 1,053. Total valid votes, 8,521. Rejected ballot, 14. Total vote cast, 8,535. Kobe Ballon had the highest, so number 1, and Elikem second highest. So these 2 are duly elected. I also want to say that for the communication officer position, only 1 person filed. So I duly declare Sami Jemfi duly elected communication officer. The national organizer position, 7 people contested and we are to elect 1. Candidate 1, Joshua Hamidu Akamba, 2,035. Candidate 2, Henry Osiakoto, 158. Candidate 3, Mahdi Mohammed Jibril, 535. Candidate 4, Sidi Abubakar Musa, 607. Candidate 5, Solomoyan Kansa, 302. Candidate 6, Chief Hamilton Bane Nixon, 1,173. Candidate number 7, Joseph Yamin, 3,730. Joseph Yamin, duly elected. For the Deputy General Secretary position, seven people filed to contest, and here are the results. Candidate 1, Francis Guribi, 324. Candidate number 2, Dr. Mesit Catherine Denu, 652. Candidate 3, Barbara Sewa Asamoah, 3,834. Candidate 4, Grand Foyo Mustafa, 1,861. Candidate 5, Kwame Zu, 1,117. 1,717. Candidate 6, Brady Paul Opata, 62. Candidate 7, Evans Amu, 83. Total valid votes, 8,533. Total rejected, 20. Total vote cast, 8,553. 2 people were to be elected as Deputy General Secretaries. Barbara Sewa Asamoah had the highest, followed by Grand Foyo Mustafa, second highest. So these 2 have been elected. For the General Secretary position, 3 people contested. Candidate number 1, Elvis Efiankra, 1,408. Candidate number 2, Fifi Fiavikwete, 4,543. Candidate number 3, Dr. Peter Buamo Otukono, 2,995. 2,595. Total valid votes, 8,546. Total rejected ballot 10. Total vote cast 8,556. So Fifi Fiavikoche duly elected General Secretary. For the vice chairmanship position, 8 people contested, and we are to elect 3 people. Alhaji Sharif Abdul Nasiru had 757 votes. Abanga Yakuba Alasan 864. Honorable Dr. Sherry Aite 1,820. Set Ofori Ohine 355. Audu Sofo Azoka 2,757. Honorable Alhaji Amadou Sorogo 832. Dr. Alhaji Habibu Dadamani 817. Eyanam Evin Mensa 331. Total valid vote cast 8,533. Total rejected ballot 27. Total vote cast 8,560. The highest vote was garnered by Audu Sofo Azoka, so first elected, followed by Honorable Dr. Sherry Aite, then Abanga Yakuba Alasan. These 3 people are duly elected National Vice Chairman. Finally, for the chairmanship position, 4 people contested. Four people contested. Candidate number 1, Samuel Yao Adusai, 52 votes. Candidate number 2, Johnson Asiedu Inkatia, 5,569. Candidate number 3, Samuel Ofosu Ambofo, 2,892. And candidate number 4, Samuel Ama Ashite, 38. Ni Ama Ashite, 38. Johnson Asiedu Inkatia, duly elected. Thank you very much. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Because there's no time, we are going straight to invite winners to this stage for them to take their oath of office. I therefore invite Wanda Victor Kuto, Arabatego, Cecilia Asaga, Victoria Kuma Minta, and Ephraim Nitan Saki. All of you should come to this stage. All these 5 names I've mentioned should move here. Zongo Kokos Coordinator, Mahama Muhammad Kul Yonga, please follow them. Deputy Women Organizer, Abigail Akwambi Elom Mensa, and Felicia Jifa Tega, follow in that order. Women Organizer, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu. Deputy Youth Organizers, Osman Abdullahi Ayariga and Ruth Della Sedo. Youth Organizer, George Akufo-Addo. Deputy Communication Officers, Malik Basanteli and Godwin Akogan. Communication Officer Sami Jefi. Deputy National Organizers Kobe Ballon, Elikem, Eric, Kelvin, Kwame, Kotoko. National Organizer Joseph Yabin. Deputy General Secretaries Barbara Sewa Asamoah, Bande Foyo Mustafa for Deputy General Secretaries. General Secretary Fifi Fiavi Kwete. Please, if your name is mentioned, move to this platform. Mr. Cool Younger, you are wanted here. Vice Chairman Audu Sofo Azoka. Dr. Sherry Aite. Abanga Yakubu Al-Hassan. Then finally, the national chairman, Comrade Johnson Asiedu Nketia. All of you should move to this stage. The chairman of the 10th Delegate Congress Steering Committee, Comrade Akufo-Addo, will swear them in. And after that, we will take a word from the chairman of the party, and finally, the program will come to a close by an address from our former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. You will be given individual.
Your hand where your heart is. Have you located your heart? So you say after me what I'm just going to say now. When I say I, you say I and mention your name and then follow me as I go on. Shall we start? I do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will at all times well and truly serve the National Democratic Congress in the office of, mention your office, in the office of, and that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the National Democratic Congress as by law established. So help me God. Shall we give them a big hand of applause?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At this moment,
you swear, you
all remain here.
You write your names on the forms and sign, then we'll collect them from you. We would like to,
whilst you perform that function,
the officers
the steering
here,
committee chair
and
will lead the
officers
team
on the
to
high
shake
table
hands.
should join us to shake hands with our newly elected officers.
To shake hands with the elected officers. Arise, arise for Ghana. We now complete silence. We are going to listen to the very first statement from our national chairman, Comrade Johnson Asiedu Nketia. Please, the handshaking to
Good morning to you all. Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, members of the Council of Elders present, my colleagues, newly elected executives, and comrades and foot soldiers of the National Democratic Congress. On behalf of the newly elected National Executive of the National Democratic Congress, and on my own behalf, I want to thank the good people of the National Democratic Congress for entrusting these leadership positions to us. It shows the confidence the party has in us. We don't take this confidence for granted. We see it as a call to duty. The nation Ghana is in crisis, and the party National Democratic Congress is at the crossroads. We are going to go into a difficult election, the first of its kind after the demise of our founder. What we need most is unity. We pledge on behalf of myself and on behalf of the newly elected executives that in the coming days, our first assignment will be to work to unite the party and bring everybody who could not be endorsed today on board, even as we march forward to defeat the elephant and set the nation on the path of progress and prosperity again. This morning, well, rather the morning of yesterday, I had the opportunity to thank the good members of this party for entrusting to me the position of the General Secretary of the party for 17 solid years. The events that have happened today enormous. The opponent has imposed on us the duty to resist, because it's been said that wherever impunity becomes law, resistance becomes of the national executives elected today. I have no doubt in my mind that the party wishes us to carry the battle to the homes of the elephant. And we will do homes of the elephant. And we will do just that. We cannot let the party down, and we cannot let our country, Ghana, down. The 2024 elections is not only an election for the sake of the National Democratic Congress, but more importantly, it is an election to regain the independence of this country. As our forebears sacrificed to win independence from the colonial governments, we believe that it is our time to continue the fight to win the second independence of Ghana. The path will not be smooth, but we will stand up to the challenge. And we are prepared to sacrifice everything, and I mean everything, including our lives, to make sure that this country is delivered. Today is not intended for long speeches. So I'd like to thank all of you. I'd like to thank, most importantly, Honorable Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, who has been my friend for 25 years. I value the friendship, so I don't think we are going to sacrifice that friendship because of this contest. We invite all other candidates who could not make it to the National Executive to consider that this victory is a victory for NDC, and that their defeat is not a defeat in actual sense, but it's an indication that the party needs them to serve in other capacities. And we will take the responsibility to make sure that the deployment of all human resources of this party will be complete to position the party in battle readiness for Victory 2024. I'd like to thank all of you, and may God bless our homeland Ghana. Long live NDC, long live Ghana. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much. 2 years ago, we started this reorganization exercise. It has been a slow but thorough exercise. And there are many times in this journey when many people ask me why it is taking so long. And I said,
better for us to do this exercise thoroughly than to rush it and repeat the mistakes of the past. And so it's been 2 long years, but in the end, we've come to the climax of the exercise. And that is the Congress that we have held today. Ladies and gentlemen, the delegates have spoken, and we have heard. Some people say, fear delegates, but I believe that the delegates have the best wisdom, and they have spoken and told us what they want. And it is our duty to work with the blueprint that they have given us. These gentlemen and women here have been elected by the delegates to serve a mandate till 2026. And it's going to be a very important mandate because a most critical election with the highest stakes is due in 2024. And this executive is going to oversee that election. I believe that they understand the responsibility that has been thrust on their shoulders. And the first thing I will say is that this celebration must be very short. We must cut the celebration short and set to work immediately. As I said, we are all the winners. For those who were elected, we must be gracious in victory. And for those who have lost, let us understand that there's a lot of room under the umbrella for everybody. And as the General Secretary said, all the party might be saying is that we want you to serve in another role. General, I'm sorry. You've served as General Secretary for 17 years. And so, as the national chairman said, the party might just be asking them to serve in other capacities. And we're all going to work together, the Council of Elders, the National Executive Committee, the Functional Executive Committee, to make sure that all those who were not elected have a role to play in the victory of 2024. And so, to climax this, I want to thank the Congress Planning Committee, chaired by Honorable Alex Segbefia, for a very wonderful job that they have done. I want to thank the Electoral Commission, and I had the opportunity to thank Dr. Srebo Kweku personally, but to thank the Electoral Commission officials for the very, very wonderful work they've done in our elections. I want to thank the IGP and the Ghana Police Service personnel who were deployed for the great job they've done. To think that they have been on their feet since 10 a.m. yesterday is not something that everybody can do. And so all the police officers here and those who coordinated the security from the police service, I want to congratulate you and thank you very much. We're indeed very grateful to you. And finally, I want to thank the great delegates. Most of them would have arrived home by now. Others are still on the way. I want to thank them for coming and letting us know their minds and to assure them that what they have done here since yesterday and the decisions they have taken are the first step towards success in election 2024, and that by the grace of God, inshallah, NDC on January 7th, 2025, will come to rescue the people of Ghana from the current hardship, economic mismanagement, and corruption that we are currently seeing. In the meantime, we will continue to work to hold this government accountable. This government accountable to the people of Ghana. And so on this note, I want to thank all of you who have stayed with us since yesterday till now. I want to thank you. May God send everybody back home safely. And inshallah, we shall meet again. Finally, I want to thank my colleagues, because I'm one of them, the gentlemen and ladies of the media, who have brought this event to millions of people across our country. Not everybody could be here in this stadium, but by virtue of the channels, TV, radio, and all the other media channels, social media, millions of people have joined us for this event. And so all of you, the media who have been with us since yesterday, I thank you very much. May Allah bless you. May God bless you. Thank you, NDC. Long live NDC. Long live the Republic of Ghana. And God bless us all. Ayezu. Ayeza. Ayezu. Hey. 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 Thank you.
Johnson Asiru Nketia is the new national chairman of the NDC, and Fifi Kwete is the new general secretary of the party. Gentlemen, let's wrap up now. I want to start with you first, Winston. I think important, we're talking about going forward. Both the national chairman and the former flag bearer had said they will find a way to bring into the fold those who lost elections. Quick 1 minute.
I mean, exactly, and that's the way to go. You know, I was saying earlier that for me, I think the only person who can talk to Fusampa at this point will be the former President John Dramani Mahama. He's indicated he agrees with Johnson and Asiru Nketia. Asiru Nketia has talked about how he cannot lose his friend of 25 years, and that's good when you go into an election of this nature. Immediately you are declared the victor, you must stretch out your hand to the man that you beat in the elections. And so let's see, I'm sure the coming days would determine how this is going to be. But I think on the whole, this has been a smooth elections by the NDC.
Yeah, and Raymond, so the big deal now is going for trying to mend fences. Asiru Nketia has set the tone, I'm going to unite. This shouldn't destroy our friendship, but it also depend on how Fusampa responds to this overture.
The expectation is that he will be a politician. On the face of it and on face value, everybody will try and come together. It's mostly the bitterness and the supporters and the other people that may create problems going forward. But I'm not so sure that this is expected to happen overnight. I'm sure it will take some time and they will resolve if they're able to do so. The NDC winning or losing the next election is dependent on the conduct of the NDC itself from now till the election is done. So if they decide to let go of some of these important avenues to bring the team together and forge a united front, it will be their own undoing.
Well, and finally, Mr. Musa Hussaini, John Mahama says this is the climax of the reorganization, but it's left with his own, say, a confirmation, then it's just complete. But clearly the tone has been set. You're looking forward. Now he says, don't waste time jubilating because you have a fight ahead.
Well, that's true. John Dramani Mahama will not be part of the executives. What he meant by climax is that from the branch level to the constituency level and regional level, we have not done the national level. So we completed the structure of the party, and so that's the climax at that level. But we have to complete it with the election of our flag bearer to be battle ready for election 2024. I like the overtures to those who have lost. The sound bites are good. Look, unity going into the election is crucial for the NDC, and that a hand will be stretched to those who have lost the elections to come on board, and there will be a place for them. NDC is an umbrella. Everybody can find a place. I mean, it's a place to hide when the sun is hot. And so clearly, the elections, I'm tremendously proud that we have been able to conduct the elections incident-free, very well organized. We thought that by now we should have still been voting, if anything. I mean, if the last Congress was anything to go by, but we have been able to finish, and everybody's going home to rest for the day. Let's put what we have said into action, make sure that those who have lost, we reconcile ourselves and prepare ourselves for battle.
In the end, it wasn't a close battle. It wasn't a close contest at all. It was a complete whipping delivered by John Zasudi Nketia to the man, the former chairman, Brasami Foto, the man who declared yesterday when he took the podium and said, a mosquito you can see is a mosquito that can bite. As it turned out, he saw the mosquito and the mosquito bit him. Enjoy the rest of your